All right, let's just get right into it. For so long, we've had this idea of the natural born leader, that person who just has it. But what if I told you that whole idea is a myth? That leadership isn't some fixed personality trait, but a set of actions, a behavior that literally anyone can learn and master. And look, this was the standard thinking for a long, long time. We put leaders on this pedestal, treating their ability like some kind of magic that you couldn't teach. It felt like this exclusive club. You were either born in or you were out. But that assumption, it's completely outdated. Yeah, it's time to flip the script because modern research, everything from neuroscience to organizational psychology, has totally rewritten what we thought we knew about leadership. And the data shows a much more empowering and, honestly, a much more interesting truth. This is the big question, isn't it? The one people have been debating forever. Well, today, we actually have a data-driven answer. And you might be surprised just how much control you really have over this. And here it is, plain and simple. What the science tells us is that maybe about 30% of leadership potential is linked to genetic stuff. But a massive 70% is developed. It comes from your environment, from your experience, and most importantly, from deliberate effort. So the takeaway is crystal clear. Leaders are overwhelmingly made, not born. This is the absolute best way to think about it. Your leadership capacity is like a muscle. It's not about who you are deep down, it's about what you do. And just like going to the gym, with the right training, practice, and consistency, you can make that muscle so much stronger. But listen, this isn't just some nice feel-good metaphor. There is real biology behind this leadership muscle that shows why your potential to lead is, well, it's pretty much limitless. Let's get into the science. Okay, now this is fascinating. Think about a professional athlete. Their career is usually limited by their body. Their physical strength and speed peak often around age 35, and then that's kind of it. But a leader's primary tool isn't their body, it's their brain. And the brain, well, it plays by a totally different set of rules. And this is the magic word right here, neuroplasticity. All it means is that your brain isn't fixed. It's not set in stone. It's constantly rewiring itself based on what you do and what you experience. So every single time you practice a new leadership behavior, like really listening to someone or giving great feedback, you are physically strengthening the pathways in your brain for that exact skill. And this is the most empowering part of all this. Unlike an athlete, a leader doesn't have a retirement cliff looming. Your ability to lead, your judgment, your emotional intelligence, all of it can continue to grow and improve for your entire life. There's literally no expiration date on your potential. Okay, so we've established that leadership is a muscle you can train for life. But just like any workout, you need to know when it's time to hit the gym, right? So how do you spot the signs that your leadership muscle is ready for a new challenge? Let's look at the red flags. These are those subtle, everyday things. Maybe your team is always busy, but you have that feeling that you're just spinning your wheels, not making real progress. Or maybe you're the one who always has to jump in and fill every awkward silence in a meeting. And here's a big one. When things get stressful, do you fall back on just telling people what to do? These aren't character flaws, by the way. They're just signals, invitations to grow. The signals can be bigger, too. They can be about the whole team or organization. Things like struggling to build real trust with a remote team, or noticing that nobody's coming up with new ideas because they're all afraid to fail. And in today's world, these issues pop up faster than ever, especially as tech like AI starts to really highlight our weaknesses as leaders. And if you need one more piece of evidence, just look at this number, 72%. Nearly 3/4 of HR pros are saying that employees today just expect more. They want well-being, they want to grow, they want to feel empowered. It's not just about a paycheck anymore. Any leadership style that ignores this human-centered reality is, well, it's just not going to cut it. So, if we're going to train our leadership muscle, what's the first exercise? It all starts with understanding the brain. Because every single thing you do as a leader is a signal, and it triggers a chemical reaction in your team's brains. It's either a threat or it's a reward. Let's break down how that works. This is a core idea in neuroleadership. Your behaviors can literally put your team into one of two states. A threat state, which gets triggered by things like micromanagement or vague instructions, makes people shut down. It kills performance. But a reward state, triggered by trust and recognition, makes them open up, engage, and do their best work. The whole game is to consciously create that reward state. And the cool part is, you can do this on purpose. These aren't tricks or manipulation. They are science-backed behaviors that release specific positive chemicals in the brain.
Think of this as your toolkit for building a high-performing team from the inside out.
Let's start with two of the big ones. First up, you've got dopamine. Think of this as the we're making progress molecule. You trigger it by setting really clear, small goals and then celebrating those little wins along the way. It creates this amazing feedback loop of motivation. Then you have oxytocin. This is the we're in this together molecule. It's all about trust and connection. And you can release it by being vulnerable, like admitting you made a mistake, or even just by asking your team for help. It's a huge signal of trust. And we can get even more specific. Want to make someone on your team feel valued and proud? That's serotonin. You can trigger that with public, and this is key, specific praise for their expertise. And what about building resilience so your team can bounce back from tough times? That's where endorphins come in. You release those with shared laughter, with real, genuine team celebrations. See, this isn't about soft skills. It's about being a biologically intelligent leader. Okay, knowing the science is one thing, but just like a real muscle, growth only comes from consistent practice, right? You don't get stronger by just reading about the gym. So how do you turn these ideas into a daily workout routine?
Here's a simple but really powerful framework. 1. Actively seek out feedback to see your blind spots. 2. Practice active listening. That means you summarize what you heard someone say before you jump in with your own thoughts. 3. Intentionally work on your emotional intelligence, especially managing your own stress. And 4. Always, always put people first.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It's a complete shift in mindset. You are not defined by some talent you were or weren't born with. Leadership is a craft. It's a discipline that you can work on and get better at every single day for the rest of your career.
And please, don't forget the science. There is no biological clock ticking on your ability to become a better leader. In fact, your potential for mastery only goes up with age and experience. Your journey of improvement literally has no finish line.
So the question isn't, am I a natural leader anymore? That question is obsolete. The only question that matters now is the one on your screen. Because great leadership isn't about what you are. It's about what you choose to practice. So, what's your workout going to be today?